Um, so here in Georgetown, South Carolina, we have experienced some of Hurricane Florence, some of the waves, I'm not waves, excuse me, wind and rain. And we did have a deluge of rain on one of the days that they caused us some issues with flooding. Some folks, they get flooded out of their homes. But for the past 2 weeks or so, we've also been waiting for the flooding to come downstream from North Carolina and South Carolina. We are in the PD River Basin, and that means everything will flow down to Georgetown, which is actually doing even as we speak.
So tell us, what exactly are the needs on the ground right now?
Well, the needs are particularly with the families that were flooded out in the northern part of the county. Some folks, they're not back in their homes yet to even see the damage, but we're running into some folks need some non-perishable food so they can obviously eat, clothing, diapers for the babies, children. So basic things to put your household back together. We have Jason Collins Community Center. He's been one of the point persons who opened up his community center to folks in need, and they're looking at food, water, and clothing.
All right. So is there a link or a web address that we can send people to that they can get either food cards or money or ship things?
There is not a website or link, unfortunately. Um, there may be a Facebook page at Jason Collins Community Center, and that's JASON Collins, COLLINS Community Center. Look for that on Facebook. And my apologies that we don't have that. And also the address, if you want to mail something or ship something or send a truck to it, is 622 Washington Street, Georgetown, South Carolina, 29440. And that goes to Jason Collins Community Center.
You said to Washington Street?
Yes, 622 Washington Street, Georgetown, South Carolina, 29440.
Okay, got it. All right. So what is it that you want to say to people out there that may not know exactly what's been going on? Because the national media hasn't really covered everything that's going on. And even I've talked to family and they're like, there's flooding? I was like, yes, in Georgetown.
Yes, and even locally, because it's been a slow moving wall of water, if you will. So where after the initial Hurricane Florence, the national media basically kind of left, and they touched on it a little bit, but they basically left. And what we are looking at is 13 trillion gallons of water coming down the PD River Basin. Now, in the last couple of days, they have indicated that the flooding in Georgetown, the city of Georgetown, is not going to be as bad as expected. We're still going to get a little bit, but not as bad as expected. In the northern portions of the county, though, they are getting slammed. They're getting hit. So if you can imagine just a slow-moving wall of water coming through and the damage that is created, that's what's happened. But in the city, thankfully, it's not as bad as expected. And so there have been some areas, but I think we're going to be okay just for the few houses that have been damaged. But first they thought it was going to be like 6,000 to 8,000 houses going to be impacted. And that is not going to happen. Now, with that said, there are houses that have been impacted, unfortunately, and those folks have not been allowed back into the areas yet because the water is actually still there. It's slow moving. And so we don't know the full damage, but there has been damage done. And hopefully it will not result in folks losing their homes. So this is created an immediate need of just the clothing, food that they need to just keep going and pick up and recover.
So I'm going to ask, because I do want to know, do you feel like our community is listening to maybe from our leaders?
Oh, can you say that again? You said our community.
You feel like our community is getting the attention that they need from the leaders, people on the ground that are supposed to be bringing relief?
I think in general people are paying attention, but in the Black community, no. And I would say low income community. Um, and that's not only here, but in North Carolina, there have been some news reports, and it's actually just true. We had 10 families during the initial storm of Hurricane Florence who were rained out of their property, and the news has not even reported on that. And we know it because people on Facebook posted stuff. But the attention has been in our historic district, the, the business district there, which is a beautiful place. I'm not taking anything away from them, but has in many places, attention is spent on the beautiful high income areas rather than the low income areas that are already suffering from a slow moving hurricane of poverty. So this is just placing even more of a burden on those communities. And in the Gullah Geechee community in particular, one of the problems we have is the heirs property situation. And for those of you who don't know what heirs property is, that means you don't have clear title to the land you are on. And you may be paying taxes on it, you may be lived there your entire life, but because it was not deeded clearly to the next generation, you may have many owners of that property. So there are folks, there may be a possibility when they go back to their home, and if it's destroyed or damaged, they won't be able to get loans to fix up their house or replace it because they don't have clear title to that property, which means banks are not going to give them loans. And actually FEMA, they couldn't even go to FEMA because they don't have clear title. That is a possibility, but we won't know it until those folks go back to those homes, and then that process starts. And it's just another way that our community, the Gullah Geechee community, where we're losing land because what ends up happening a lot of the times, these are in areas where developers see this beautiful area and they don't see the people. We're invisible to them, and they then have the opportunity to come in and purchase that land through the court system. And in a family, someone who's lived their entire life can lose that land and lose access to that land. So that is also another issue that's going to come up. And hopefully not this time, but it is something that we need to prepare for right now, and we need to prepare for in the future because this is an ongoing issue with the Gullah Geechee community.
Okay, so as people that are on the outside looking in,
Yes.
how can we support all the needs of the community? Food, clothing, if they need to recover financially from FEMA and the money that's there for the state of emergency. The advocates.
Well, I have the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce. I am on Facebook. My website is actually being redone right now, so you would not have access to my website. And the storm actually impacted my deadline on that website because we could not get together to wrap it up and finish it. But I am on Facebook, and folks can reach out to me through Facebook at the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce, and I can let them know churches, I can let them know organizations that are helping these folks regarding heirs property, their land, if you want to help from that direction. And there's also a group, the Heirs Property Preservation Society, that they're a group of lawyers who help families with their heirs property land. They are on Facebook. You can look them up, and send them money directly because they need those funds to help these families. Because it's very expensive to finalize title for the land that you're on. In some instances, you have to find up to 500 relatives, if not more, to find over their claim to the land. the American Red Cross, the usual organizations, but I'll leave that up to other folks' discretion where they want to work on that. I would think with the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce, look us up on Facebook, and I will make sure. And I have been posting actually churches and organizations, individual groups that are legitimately out here helping folks. So if you want to help out, definitely go look for Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce on Facebook.
All right. So we have been planning for the film festival for the last several months.
Yes.
And of course, we've been waiting out the weather situation. Can you tell us anything about how is it looking for those prospects at this point?
So November 2nd, which is going to be our family day, we're probably going to shorten that day. Because the weather has impacted and people are still scattered. People are just coming back now. So we're going to meet this week to finalize some details. But we're probably going to shorten that day. I encourage anybody who does want to attend to still go to the website and buy tickets. November 3rd, as far as I know, everything's on track and we're going to make that's going to happen. But November 2nd, we are going to shorten what's going to happen that day. Probably just have one movie, have a networking event tied in with that movie, and anyone interested in being a vendor at the networking event, please contact us via our Facebook page or at 843-318-8644. That's 843-318-8644. And let us know that you want to be a vendor. There's a cost to that, but we would love to have you come out and support that. But unfortunately, this year, Hurricane Florence and the ensuing flooding has curtailed our plans, unfortunately. But that just means that we'll be back bigger and better next year.
Amen to that. All right, so you did say there is a cost to be a vendor, but it is a little bit cheaper if you are a member of the chamber, correct?
Yes. If you're a member of the chamber, it's $25, and of course the chamber membership are running a special charter rate of $112.50 this year. So it would actually be $112.50 plus the $25. But if you're not a member of the chamber, it would be $50 to be a vendor at the film festival. And those are actually, I think, really reasonable vendor fees. But we want to encourage the people to come out and really showcase their products, ideas, and services. Because we're about marketing, we're about supporting the community and marketing the community.
Tell us exactly why did you start the Chamber of Commerce, and what are your goals for the organization?
Well, the mission of the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce is to raise global awareness of market profitability and sustainability of African American businesses and businesses that support African Americans within the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, which stretches from North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, to Jacksonville, Florida, and along the coast of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, North Carolina. And it's a celebration of the Gullah Geechee, who are descendants of enslaved Africans. We created the rice culture, which is the start of everything when it comes to regarding enslaved Africans. So this is a celebration of our culture, our heritage, but more importantly, it's about economic empowerment. And that's why I started it, because I'm basically tired of being sick and tired. We are a marginalized indigenous community, and we are not partaking of just in South Carolina alone, the $2.4 billion annual tourism dollars that is spent by African Americans in the state. In general, tourism is a $20 billion industry in South Carolina. So if you multiply that by at least three other states, four in total, we are only partaking of 1% of that. And we have such a rich culture. I wanted to make sure that not only do we have wealth for right now, that we create generational wealth. And it's time for that to happen. So this is my social impact organization that's going to make it happen.
All right. Was there anything else you'd like to tell everybody, or anything you need to know? At this point, we'll be in touch, of course, but at this point,
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and giving me a chance to tell you a little bit about what we're doing here in Georgetown, South Carolina. And this is the beginning of great things with the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce and the partnerships that we are creating with other chambers, with other local organizations, and other organizations across the 4 states of the corridor. Uh, this is a community that has a rich history, but it's also in flux because a situation like Hurricane Florence is just indicative of climate change. And we are at the front lines of that. So what happens with our community is going to be a reflection of what's going to happen in the rest of the country. And I think people really need to take that seriously. They need to get better informed, better educated, and more importantly, they need to get activated and really decide, where am I going to invest my dollars? Where am I going to invest my time in the communities that need that investment? Because this is going to impact all of us, and this is just the beginning of a lot of things that are going to change because of climate change.